Hey, hey.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right. So if you clicked on this video, you probably want a sign to know if the person you're interested in, or even a future person, is the one. You want a sign. You want to know. You want to know. And so I understand. We understand. And so, yeah. But before we talk about it.
Yeah, we're Terence and Jill, God-Ordained Union. We've been married for 3 years, and our mission is simple. We're here to help increase kingdom marriages.
Yes, yes. So if this is your first time on our channel, you may be unmarried and you may be wondering, where is your person? Who is your person? Why is your person taking so long? Is something wrong with you? Did you miss your person? We understand, or even feeling like I'm too old. Am I too old to be married? We understand, because that was our story. I was 52 when I walked down the aisle to marry Terence, and I was 48 when I came across Terence's profile on a dating site. So yes, it was a process. But yeah, so that's our story. On this channel, we encourage you. We stand in agreement with you. If you want marriage, God wants it for you. Yes. He said it's not good for man to be alone. No, you don't have to choose marriage. So if you don't want to be married, that's fine too. But those who want to be married, this channel is definitely for you. We share our testimony. Everything we do is rooted in the Word of God. We share our testimony. We share our stories. We share what we went through in the waiting room, as my husband said, in the elevation season, in our single season. And yeah, we don't give marital advice, even though we're married. We don't give marital advice.
That ain't what this is for.
Right.
This is for helping you find marriage. What you do with it after that?
Yes.
We're just trying to help you along while you're in God's elevation room.
Yes.
Because we know you got questions. We've had those same questions, and that's why we share our experience. Yes. And honestly, now we can look back and say, this is what those things meant. Right. But we didn't know them either going through it. That's why we want to share what we've learned over the years after the fact with those of you that are going through it right now.
Right. So you're in the right channel. Yes. Again, we don't give marital advice, but we like to believe that we mastered our single season, doing everything we wanted to do, just doing everything we wanted to do in our single season, maxing out. And then God said, here you go. Mm-hmm. And so our story is different from your story. Yes. And what your love story is going to be. And so, but we'll share here. We go live every single
Tuesday night.
Yes.
At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And we do pre-recorded videos every Sunday and Thursday.
At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And also we invite you to join us for intercessory prayer on Friday nights at
11:50 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Yes, into midnight. And so it's not our call, it's our family call, hosted by my mom, Pastor Joyce. A lot of you know her and have been on our prayer call with us. Hey, y'all. And so so make sure that you join us. The information for the prayer call is below, not in the chat and not but in the description. And also, this is not for those who are, you see people, live chatting. This is not live. This is pre-recorded, but we are live chatting. So yes. Also, at the release of this video, our website should be up.
Yes,
I think.
Get ready.
So it's a WordPress website, and so if anybody knows anything about websites, WordPress websites is more about functionality than it is aesthetics. And so it's very, very, very technical. So the web developer we've been going back and forth for 2 months or so, going back and forth, tweaking and fixing and tweaking, and this is not working, and this is not connecting, and this and this and this. So prayerfully, it is up and running. You can go on to our website at God-Ordained download our prayers that we prayed when we were in the elevation room. You can also join our new private group that we're starting. We're so excited about that because a lot of you have some things you want to discuss and you don't want to share publicly. And we're getting so many email that we say, okay, you know what, let's bring, a few of us together in a private setting so that we can talk freely, so that y'all can turn on y'all cameras and we can see each other and all that. And you might meet your person and all that great stuff. So we're excited. So check out our website, God-Ordained Union.com. And so
we got a lot going on, but we are so glad that you guys are supporting us and have become family.
Yes.
We look forward to spending those more intimate conversations in those groups.
Yes.
So, baby, we've been getting a lot of comments of people wanting a sign.
I'm guilty.
People are waiting for a sign.
I was guilty.
And look, here's the thing. We are not judging anybody because none of us are perfect. And we all, at one time or another, or even now, waiting on signs.
I'm guilty.
But as a result of the comments, we had to do a video about waiting on signs and what that means.
Yes. And I can't really say I was waiting for a sign. I think it's more divine clues, because I never, like, for instance, when I was in the waiting room and I was, when I had already come across your profile, those of you who know the story had came across Terrence's profile. I just felt this connection, but I wanted to know, I think I more wanted to know, what is this? Because it was new to me. What is this? But I never was saying I need a sign to know if he's the one. Because hindsight, he was the one, but I just kept saying he's got to be the one, because I had never felt that feeling before. And so as I was moving forward by faith, God would start to drop clues.
Yeah. I think it's important for us to know that we all looking for something to reassure us that we're not crazy.
Right.
To reassure us that we're going in the right direction.
Right.
So that ain't what we're, don't think that you're wrong for wanting to know that you're right, or you should turn directions and go in another direction. You should want to know that, but at the same token, what we're talking about here is if you're just sitting at home on your couch saying, I'm not moving until God knock on the door and say, hello, I'm God, and here is your spouse.
I ain't going on no date with him or her unless I know that he's the one.
Yeah.
Or she's the one. Or I need a sign, because I don't want to invest no time. I don't want to. I want to know. Also, you want to know, like, if you are, you spending time with this person here and there, you want to know, is this the one for me? And at the end of the day,
we don't know.
We don't know.
None of us knows.
We don't. We
can look back and put something to it that says, now I know that's what that meant. Or now I know this was a crossroads and I made a decision and this is what that decision did for me or cost me. But we don't know that when we're actually going through it. We don't
know it. And that's what
faith is all about.
What faith is. So what's that scripture? It's 2 scriptures in Matthew.
Yeah. The one is, the one you're referring to now is Matthew 12, verses 38 and 39. And this is Jesus speaking, okay? But it says here, then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered him, saying, Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. But he, this is Jesus, answered them, an evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah.
And that's a reminder, the prophet Jonah. We know the story. Jonah was disobedient. And so he was running. Yeah,
he was basically running from his assignment.
And so the part is that the sign is the obedience. Are you moving in obedience? That is the sign. Are you moving by faith in obedience to what God said? Are you doing the assignment you're supposed to be doing in this single season.
Yes. Are you moving closer to God? Are you seeking God? Are you seeking his kingdom? And if you're doing that, the word also says that when we move towards God, he moves towards us.
Right. Also, searching our hearts.
Yes.
Seeking peace. Choosing life.
Yes.
Those things. Those are the being obedient. Those are quote unquote the signs. The cross is the sign. That's the sign. And so we're looking for a sign in a person. And God said, no, it's a faith move. It is impossible to please me
without belief,
without faith.
Wow.
And so if you're looking for a sign, that could be the sign that you're off, that you're off, that you're not moving by faith. So there was something else you wanted to share?
Well, I do want people to understand that one thing I think that we leave out of the equation sometimes is our memory. You know, the word says that faith comes by hearing. Sometimes the hearing may be you actually telling yourself what the word says, so you don't allow doubt to creep in. You don't allow unbelief and unfaith, and unfaithfulness to creep in, because you can actually regurgitate what you've already learned and what the word says. So don't leave your memory and what you've learned in the past. Don't allow that to just be absent when you run up on something. You're saying, I need to know. Well, what did the word say? I remember reading this. Yeah, bring that back. Bring that back to the forefront and say, this is exactly what the word says. And that will help strengthen you right then in that time, because it's something you've already learned. It's something you've already heard. You just may not have spoke about it or heard about it, in the last couple of weeks or whatever. But that can be an opportunity for you to bring those things back to the forefront.
Yeah. So I do believe that God gives like divine clues. And so, and that goes with movement. Like when you're walking your faith walk and you're living, it goes with, we were talking about, I forgot this thing that goes around on social media. It talks about, I think it's a quote. I think it's a Martin Luther King quote. God is not going to show you the whole staircase. He's going to show you one step at a time. That's one step at a time. And so that's literally, you literally have to, as you are moving forward, God will start to, some things will start to illuminate out, and you'll start to see some things, but a real life experience, situation. So this week I was having, there was a situation with one of my girlfriends. So she's been talking to this guy, and they've known each other for years, and it'll be almost a year that they've been like talking, like they have not established anything, but they've been talking like here and there, like maybe like they pretty much talk consistently by text and stuff, but here and there, they may, go out on a quote unquote date or whatever. They may, and so for the last couple of weeks, my girlfriend has been adamant that she wants to go do this solo trip. So she was planning a solo trip for Juneteenth this past week, for the Juneteenth weekend. And so, so she had been making plans. And so at the last minute, she decided, so she wanted to go to a beach. She decided to change the beach from North Carolina to Florida. So she canceled her plans for North Carolina, and she diverted her plans to Florida, to Daytona. And so she made the reservation for the room. And the night before, so she was going to get up early, I think Juneteenth morning, to drive to the beach and stay for the weekend. Well, the night before, something said to her, call the hotel to make sure. She had booked her hotel like on a third party site. So something said, call the hotel to confirm your room. She called the hotel. Now when I say she has been so looking forward to this trip, she's always traveled with girlfriends or whatever, but she was so looking forward to this solo trip. She called the hotel, and the hotel said that they couldn't find a reservation. She was so upset. And she said something in her spirit kept telling her, don't go, not to take the trip. And so the morning that she was supposed to leave, she texted. She was like, girl, I don't know what's going on. She said, for some reason, the Lord is telling me not to go on this trip. And she said, and with the hotel, she said, it's just too far to drive, for the hotel, for me to get down there. I don't have a room. And it's, it's a holiday weekend and da, 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 da. She said, girl, so I'm not going to be able to go. About an hour or so later, she said, girl, why did I just get a text from the guy? And he said, hey, I don't know if you have what do you have planned? He said, but he said, I'm not busy. He said, and I want to put some stuff on the grill. If you don't mind, if you want to come over, we can. She was like, okay. And so she said she went and got some stuff to make some sides to go with what he was putting on the grill. And she went over and she said they sat by the pool and they had all of this wonderful conversation, like deep conversation. And she said while she was there, he told her, he said, hey, he said, my family is doing a trip to the beach. We're going as a family going to the beach in a couple of weeks. He said, I would love for you to go with us. A divine clue. Not that she is jumping to conclusions or not that she's running past the ball, but I said, and so she was like, oh my God, Jill, he just invited me to go with his family. Like, oh my God. And so I say that to say, when you're living and you're doing, and these are quote, if you want to say they're signs, these are divine clues that you're moving in the right direction. You're moving in the right direction. And so it's not to say that he is the one. It's a sign to say he is the one or he's not. But when God orders your steps and he is blocking you from doing things and you're going in pure attention and you are moving forward. She was going by herself. She was not waiting around for him. She's not waiting around for no man. She's living life. And these are, if you want to say signs, these are signs that you're moving in the right direction. You're moving towards God. You're not necessarily moving towards the goal of that man or that woman. Like you're living, and as you're living, God is ordering your steps and things are happening. And so she could have very well stood around and waited and hoped that he called her for this holiday, and it never probably would have happened. But because she was moving forward and that's what I think that's what we miss. I think we miss we stand still looking, is he the one? Just live.
I think what we also miss is that she was being obedient. See, when you're moving and you're listening, we did a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even a couple months ago, where we've been talking about lately about your spiritual eyes and your spiritual ears. There's a difference in what you will see if you are looking through the lens of your spiritual eyes, and what you can hear if you're listening for the Holy Spirit with your spiritual ears. And she is listening. She's looking, she's listening, but she's moving where she feels she's being directed.
Right.
And even when, and she just told you, she told her she felt like God is telling her not to go.
God is telling me not to go.
So even though she may not have said, I know 100%, she's saying, look, my spirit is telling me that something ain't right about this. So, but you got to live.
You got to live.
Why is that important? Because you need to be able to have, in some cases, experiences That's God uses our experiences sometimes to teach us something. But if you're not doing it, if you're not living, you're just sitting there on the couch waiting for him to direct you. You don't give him opportunities to teach you something.
Right.
And when you get to your blessing, you need to be prepared to handle it.
Right.
And God teaches us, he prepares us along our journey to be able to handle the blessing, but he also prepares the blessing for us.
Right.
So it's a give and take where we have to be obedient.
Right.
You got to be obedient. You got to be faithful to what he's sharing with you so you can learn the things he needs you to learn.
Right. And she could very well have been what she's not. She could, because it's almost a year that they've been quote unquote talking. And she could very well be one of those people who say he's taking too long, or what is he, but through the last year, she's grown so much spiritually. She's grown so much financially. She's grown so much emotionally and mentally. And I mean, she just grown so much. And so, yeah, she spent the couple of hours at his house. She came home. She said it was beautiful. It was wonderful. They took beautiful pictures. She had on a bathing suit, but she had on a long dress with it, or a bathing suit cover up. They took pictures and no expectations. She has no expectations. And not even in the trip. He invited her to the family trip, and she said, "Okay, if it happens, it happens. If not, I enjoy every moment that we time we spend together." And so she's not, she's going by faith. She's not, oh my God, is he the one? Is he the one? She believes that there's something different with this guy, and his actions show it as well. And so, but it is a faith move.
That's what I like about this story is that, or her story, because I don't know his, but I think the fact that she's not saying he has to be the one or it's an all-out failure. She's not saying if he ain't the one, then, her heart's been broken. She's saying, you know what? I'm going to let God be God. I'm going to listen. I'm going to look. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep seeking him, but I'm going to live while I do this.
Right.
And allow him to just do what he do best.
Right.
And God's provisions is taking her through whatever experiences he needs her to learn. Mm-hmm. And until he says, that's the guy I have for you, to where she knows it. But until the other guy knows it, to that guy knows it as well. So,
yeah, and again, he could know. You gotta get out. He may not have revealed to you. Like she feels she knows. She feels like he is one, but she has not told him that.
Yeah, you don't put the cart before the horse.
Right. It's just using wisdom. And so it's still a faith move. And perhaps they'll get to the point where there's an intersect and
believe it or not, you guys are using faith. You're using it every day. Mm-hmm. She used the example of the staircase, but think about being in your car. Your headlights don't show from here to the other coast, but every single night you drive wherever it is you got to drive at night, knowing that you're only going to see a portion of the highway, 100 or 200 yards out. And when you get those 200 yards, that headlight has illuminated the next 200. Mm-hmm. But you do that every single time you get in your car. You just haven't done it for your soulmate.
Yeah, I think our culture has conditioned us that we have to know everything. Yeah. That is how I was just thinking about even gender reveals. Mm-hmm. It used to be a time when, you didn't know the sex of the baby until
the baby was born.
The baby was born. And even still, I mean, and then in our, as Gen Xers, we that's what most of our experience was. A family member had a baby, you wouldn't know until, oh my God, it's another girl, it's another boy. You wouldn't know until the delivery. And then we've also experienced where you did come to know, what the sex of the baby was. The parents, you got a sonogram, but you didn't tell everybody else until after the baby's born. Now it's like everybody got to know. You got to make this big production. You got to have a gender reveal party, and it's got to be this, and you got to know this, and you got to know everything. And I think it robs us of some very sacred moments and, and really like trusting what God has for you when he gives it to us. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to know the sex of my baby. I'm not saying that in advance. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we've been conditioned to wanting to know everything.
Technology have cheated us out of
the human natural experience.
Yeah, for an example, and here's what I know that I have really decreased in, and I don't even apologize for it, but it's like remembering phone numbers.
Oh my God.
I used to remember hundreds upon hundreds of phone numbers, but now I got called out, you know what I mean? Now I have no, look,
I have,
even when we go somewhere and somebody says, can you give a reference? If I pull up one of my sisters or brothers, I'm pulling up my phone and pulling up their name and letting it tell me what their phone number is. Back in the day, I knew everybody's number by heart that was in my phone. Now,
and the sad part about it, I'm going to tell y'all something. The only reason why I know my husband's telephone number is because I use that number at the grocery store to get the, the rewards points. I know the Harris Teeter because I got to say it so much. And so, but yeah, we're in a society where we've got to know everything, and it takes away from, and it goes. And also, can't leave this video with even talking about prophecy. Like we've been so conditioned. I got to get a prophecy. I got to get a prophecy. I got to get a prophecy. And just a reminder, a prophetic word is just confirmation to what you already know in the spirit. So when I was going through that season with Terence and not knowing him, seeing him, but not knowing, who he was, and not having, any type of friendship or relationship with him. But I knew something in my spirit says this is different. This is different. And so, but it wasn't until, that guy who I met on social media who said, I have a prophetic word for you. And when he told me your king is coming, it confirmed what was in my spirit. It confirmed it. And it wasn't like I was looking for a prophecy. I was not looking for a prophecy. But he confirmed it. And so prophetic words, and even when we do prophetic words here, we've done a couple, it is only confirming to you all what you already
should know
in your spirit, in the spirit realm. And so that is enough. That is the sign that knowing that God lives and resides on the inside of you. Keep moving, keep living, you don't need to know if he or she is the one. Move by faith.
Yes.
You'll know soon enough. Yes. You'll know when you know. And so just to say you're not going to even entertain the person, that might not be the right word, but not to even give the person a conversation, because, if they're not your husband or your wife, you're not interested. Yeah. So, but I'm guilty of it because I feel you. Because I be wanting to know some things too. I mean, it's just...
No, we all do. It's human nature. But what we have to do is get back to our godly nature. That's what we're trying to share with you, is that we have a godly nature. He made it. He created us just like so we have to say, look, I know I don't know this, but I got a feeling. And trust that feeling.
If we would know exactly when our house is going to be built, I would navigate life between now and then differently, and it won't be God's will.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It won't, because there's some things.
It won't be trusting in him.
It won't be trusting in him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And not to say that you go into a marriage blindly or a relationship blindly, but you go in with your focus on God, not on the person. You'll get there. You'll know. It's going to reveal itself the more you move forward.
You are closer
you'll
today
get there.
than you've ever been, ever. So it's reason to celebrate. It's reason to thank God. It's reason to glorify his name right now. The fact that you are closest to your spouse than you've ever been in your entire life.
Yep.
Right now.
And you know what I was just thinking? The day you proposed to me, the next day, or even right after, because it was at night, I saw you differently. It just changed. It's like, this man is now going to be my husband. I didn't see it before. I felt something, but I didn't see it. We just moved forward with dating and getting to know each other.
We told y'all we went from texting to speaking on the phone. All of that took like a year. The whole time I never told my sisters, my brothers, my friends, my co-workers. I never told anybody that she existed. I kept that between me, her, and the Lord. And you'd be surprised how clearer things would have been, or things were, rather than if I'd have told somebody and they'd have been like, man, I don't believe that, or you should have done this, or you should have said that, or how come y'all ain't seen it? You know, you don't, when you give the enemy a chance to try to throw doubt or throw something in that equation to mess it up. But it was so clear to me. I didn't know when I first saw her, she was going to be my wife. I just knew that there was something about her that I couldn't get off my mind. I couldn't get out of my spirit. And I was just saying, you know what? I'm going to be faithful to God, and I'm just going to allow him to do what he do. And I'm going to stay out of the way, because I'd already been in relationships that I did 100% everything on my own, I thought, and it didn't. So I was like, nope, I've learned those lessons. Lord, if you got somebody for me, it's going to be of you. And if you want me to be just me and you, it's just going to be me and you rocking to the end. But I trust you. I believe in you. And when I said that, my whole life changed.
Right. Mine too.
My whole life changed. That's when I felt like, now looking back, that's when I felt like God put me to sleep and said, now I'm going to do my spiritual surgery, and I'm going to take your rib out of you and I'm going to put it in her.
Although I was getting some divine clues. I remember everywhere I would go, Terence. I would drive down the highway, drive down the street. It would be a big sign. Vote Terence for county sheriff. And it'd be spelled the same way. I was at a restaurant. We were at a restaurant. We were at Stephanie's in Greensboro. Stephanie's Seafood, Soul Food. Mm-hmm. We were at Stephanie's, and the waiter came up. He was like, "Hi, I'm Terence." I was like, "I cannot get this man's name," and it will always be spelled the same way, Terence, which is one of many ways that Terence is spelled. But I was like, every time I turn around, it was Terence. And it didn't say that he was the one. It wasn't a sign that he was the one, but it was like, okay, it's a divine reminder. It's a divine clue. Like, this is weird. And so I was so busy trying to put the mystery together, trying to figure out the mystery instead of figuring out, is he the one? I was trying to, this is, because I've never felt it before. The one, it will be a feeling that you've never felt before. The one. It would be so odd, so different than you ever. It's not going to be familiar like the other ones. And so, so if you're so leaning so hard on a sign, pull back and trust God. Trust God.
For everything that you might have a slight doubt in, pull the word up and see what it says.
Yes.
See what God's word say about that. Yeah. And eliminate that doubt from your mind.
Yes. So keep seeking the kingdom. Yes. Because that's a sign that that's the sign you want.
And keep living.
Keep living.
And when we say living, we're not saying going out and partying it. You know, we're saying keep your direction on God, but live listening to him.
Yes.
Listening for his word, listening for
doing your assignment in this season. Yes. That is vital. Doing your assignment. So many people have their life held up because it's like, I don't want to do anything because my husband or my wife is going to come. But it's it's going through that journey that you probably will find your husband or your wife.
God has you
that path
is where you're going to find that person.
Yes. So he definitely wants us to do our assignment in the seasons that we're in. And so, yeah. All right, y'all, let us know if this helped. Are y'all looking for signs? Are y'all still saying you need a sign?
So
drop comments.
Yeah. But we look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
Yes.
Until then, be blessed.
Yes.
And live.
Yes, and live.
Deuces.